I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to our town meeting for September the 12th. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Council Member Holly Crafton Lane.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and we thank you for this town and this opportunity to come together to work for the citizens of our town. Lord, we pray that you will bless everyone in this room. You will be with this council tonight as we work towards the betterment of our community. You will be with everyone in this community, Lord, those who are sick, those who are suffering, those that just need hope, Lord, if you will be with them and give them strength in your peace. Lord, I pray for our first responders as well as our military at home and abroad. I pray, Lord, you will be with them all, keep them safe, and bring them home safely to their loved ones. All this we ask, Lord, in your precious name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you have before you tonight's agenda. If there's any changes to be made, let us know now. If not, we'll need a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion is carried unanimous. All right, approval of the regular meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the regular meeting minutes as presented.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous. Approval of the special meeting minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the special meeting minutes.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous. Citizens requesting comments, but before anybody stands up, I got a couple of announcements I'd like to make. The first one is the one we've been waiting on for a long time now. There will be a groundbreaking ceremony for the new fire station on October 6th at 11 a.m. at 717 East Main Street. Everybody was involved in all that work. We're getting started. Second, I received last Thursday a proclamation from the city of Newton thanking the town of Maiden and the town of Forest City for the weather event they had on August the 7th. So they just wanted to send us a resolution and all the appreciation for our electrical department and everything that we done to help them out. So you can pass that on to your employees there, Brian. Thank you. Other than that, now the floor is open, and if you want to speak, just step up to the podium and announce your name, where you from, phone number, all that good stuff.
Call now.
Yes, but today I represent Maiden Business Association. Two events that I have flyers for if you want a copy. The Maiden Business Jamboree, it's also a food truck, is this Saturday. We officially start at 12. The food trucks will not be set up and ready to serve until 1, and we're going until 6. There's gonna be a live DJ, there will be a giant slide, a giant inflatable slide, and face painting. The merchants who took a lot of their time and set up at the made sure that the Jive After 5 functioned and ran smoothly. This is their time to get out and have a little bit of attention on what we sell and what we do. Anybody want to fly? Let me give each and every one of you one. You want one? You don't need one, do you? You want to pass it down? I can. So, there you go. Thank you. Anybody in the audience?
Good tell everybody, give her one.
The second page, the second page is our event, October the 21st. It starts at 6:30 with free hot dogs, free water. We'll have a giant inflatable slide that night too. All guests are encouraged to dress in full costume, adults and children. A movie will start at 6:30, and the movie we're gonna have is Hotel Transylvania. Both events are completely free and complimentary of the Business Association with the help of the town of Maiden and their rec department. They support us, bring out the cones, set stuff up, and make sure that we're well taken care of. Both events are at the community center. The event Saturday is in the parking lot of the community center, and the event October the 21st is close to the splash pad, that flat grassy area. The Saturday's event, the restrooms will be inside the community center, and October the 21st, we will use the restrooms at the splash pad, and we'll use that shelter area too. Any questions on that?
Thank you for doing that.
We like to give back. Yeah, everybody supports us, and so we want to give back. We also, some of the other stuff we do in town that you may not be aware of, when we find a local need, we try and make sure that something is done for that need, whether it's one of our members or just a community. We try and pay special attention to that. So if you do hear of a need and it's something we can do, let us know. Can I ask about the flags that I messaged you about yesterday?
You're more than welcome to ask anything. I think Brian's gonna work out a schedule for next year,
Okay.
for that.
You guys speak tonight, Brian, or you want me to? We done? We good with that? All right.
Oh, I mean, now that you brought it up.
So,
What are we talking about?
so about 14, 15 years ago, we started putting out flags along the sidewalks for, and I wanna say it was Memorial Day. And then it got every year there's been some days added, holidays. And now we've been requested to put it out for 9/11 as well. I think we're up to probably 5 days. And we're probably going to end up replacing them too, because they are getting some weather on them. And the good and bad thing about it is those flags have to be special ordered, because if not, they touch the ground. If they touch the ground, then you got burned. So, but we'll take care of it and get it out.
It makes it really is a nice gesture.
Yep.
I'm Richard Fox. Good evening, Mayor, council members, citizens of Maiden. Tonight I stand before you to recognize and thank our women law enforcement officers of the Maiden Police Department. Each year, the National Policewoman Day is celebrated on this day, September the 12th. This day acknowledges and celebrates the contribution of female police officers who enforce law and order around the country, who are paving the way for future generations of women in law enforcement, and reminding us of their courage and determination. So I just wanted to come here tonight and say thank you to all our women police officers for their service and commitment to our community for what they serve.
Absolutely.
unless something goes sideways before this date. October 7th will be our Fall Fest. We're starting to advertise. We started this week, so this marquee calendar is October 7th will be our Fall Festival. And remember, all the rides and everything are, like always, are free for the kids.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say?
And go ahead, Anna.
Just Beth, I know you mentioned it, last meeting, but Wanda and me helping her a little bit have been working towards the hunger walk, and we've already got a good bit of people signed up, and that's October 13th. So we're
No.
moving forward.
Is it the 13th? It's the 15th. isn't it?
15th,
It's the 15th.
October 15th
Yeah.
at 3. So we're moving forward with all that.
Okay, great.
And I think if you need any more information, I think Wanda is the staff member that is leading that up, correct? Huh?
Communicate emails to everyone, I think everyone will see those.
I didn't see you hiding back there. I thought you had.
I think I sent communicated emails to everyone. I think we probably have maybe 10 that's registered. And I'll continue to send out, communications, and we have some donations that we also receive. We're doing pretty good. We're actually leading, in Catawba County as far as the organizations when it comes to the members.
Nice.
So that's, I'm being encouraged and everybody trying to participate in the walk, and I'll send out more information as well.
All right.
What is it? It is, I'm sorry, it's the Catawba County, walking every year, it's exactly, so we don't have a apologize. I'm pretty sure it's October 15th.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, 2 to 4.
Yeah, it's the 15th, and, if you would like to sign up for the walk, it starts, registration starts at 2, but if you would like to join, I can actually register you with the town, and we have a team. Okay.
Thanks, Wanda.
It is the Eastern Catawba County Hunger Walk, and 100% of the money collected will be split between the corner table, which is a soup kitchen that feeds Eastern Catawba County people that need it. And the other half will go to Eastern Catawba County Christian Ministries, who has a food pantry. So every bit collected is split evenly between the two. It's a joint effort. So if anyone that wants to sign up to be on our team can. I mean, it's not just for us or the employees, just any citizens in Maiden that would like to participate. And it's a fun time. I mean, just a fellowship. And if you feel like you can't walk, you know, that you're, for whatever, you're handicapped in some way, you can just come up and stand around and talk. Fellowship. I mean, they have music, they have ice cream afterwards. They give out awards for the, you know, whoever collected the most money, whoever had the most walkers, that type of thing. So it's a good time just to get out and fellowship.
Feel free to reach out to me if you want to sign up, I'll register you. Great.
Anyone else? If not, we're gonna move right along. You have before you the consent agenda item, which consists of the finance officer's report for the month of August.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda, finance officer report for August.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion is carried unanimous. New business, Fireman Relief Fund Board nominations.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate you allowing us to be here tonight. As you found in your packet, a short letter I typed up to you as far as the Fireman's Relief Fund Board. It entailed in that short briefing that the board is made up of 5 members, 2 whom are appointed by council or approved by council, 2 by the fire department, and 1 by the fire commissioner. The 2 gentlemen that was approved by town council, Mr. Poovey may be able to help me on the date, because I have been unable to find a date. I believe it was back in the nineties. Is that correct, when y'all were put on there, the counselors? I think it was late eighties, early nineties. So these gentlemen have been serving on this relief fund board for many, many years. I personally hadn't been able to find a date. But they have decided that it's time to pass on the torch to someone else. So they are going to be resigning from the board as soon as those two positions can be filled. They've agreed to stay on until council is willing to fill those two positions. We do have two names that are two members, or two suspecting members that have agreed to serve on the board, and the first one is Terry Michaels. He's a retired firefighter, retired with, I would say, roughly 30 years from the fire department. And then Tracy Caldwell, who's with us here tonight, he is my assistant chief at the fire department at this time. So at this point, it is up to council's discretion if y'all would like to proceed with this, with the names that have been proposed to you tonight, to approve them to take the position of the two gentlemen that has decided to resign. And I'll be willing to answer any questions I may possibly be able to answer.
Can you tell us, I know there's like two more that you guys appointed and then one by the fire committee. Who else is on this committee or this?
Okay, Mr. Bob Poovey, who's sitting here in the middle, he was appointed by the fire department. And then Jeremy Williams,
Okay,
who is Mr. Ronnie Williams' son, he was appointed by the fire department. And then Neil Buff was appointed by the fire commissioner
okay,
of the state of North Carolina. And Mr. Richard Kanzler and Vernon Kanzler, his brother, are the two that have decided to resign.
gotcha.
Ready to pass it on.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the nominees as presented by the Fireman Relief Fund board members.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
So just a question on the relief fund board. Should there be that long of terms? Is that normal? Like, I'm asking because I don't know.
I did took I guess a poll across the county, of our county, and there's some departments that have 5-year terms, there's some that has 10-year terms, and there's some that's
Just open?
open.
I don't know a whole lot about it, so that's the purpose of my question. Like, should we look at it more
Yeah,
often
and that's-
or?
I've actually been working on some stuff to look at term processes, just to keep fresh eyes on
Yeah.
everything and fresh ideas and things of that nature. And
Okay,
there's very few things that this board can do with the funding. The
Okay.
state lays it out, they manage it,
yeah.
so it's.
Just curious.
Okay.
That was just the point of my question is, I was like,
Yes,
that's a
ma'am.
long
It
term
is.
from the 80s. I mean, thank you guys, okay.
Okay, old business. First, we have the ATM lease agreement.
Good evening, council. At our last council meeting, the council directed staff to pursue locating an ATM here at Town Hall. We've been in further contact with State Employees Credit Union. They have drawn up the ATM lease agreement, which lays out for 5 years. It's renewable. There is no charge for us to have the ATM here at the parking lot. This would be approving that lease and moving forward with the process. We're looking at a potential date of February of next year of having the ATM open for the public for use.
So Blake, can you explain exactly where it's gonna be located? Do you know that?
Yeah, it's going to be located out in the public parking on the far side of the parking lot. It will be a walk-up ATM, so folks will be able to park on either side of the ATM, walk up to it to get their money.
So that between the Mays parking lot and our parking lot?
Yeah,
that-
between the alleyway there
Okay.
and our parking lot, it's going to be sitting
So they could
roughly in
come
that
from
garden space.
Either side too?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
Is it up in the far corner of?
No, it will kind of be located what would be in the middle of the far garden bed over there, and closest to the power pole.
So like
we
right where
pull
the
power
alleyway
directly off of-
starts, kind of.
Kinda, yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we've still got to maintain our setbacks off of that as well.
So if you're sitting in the parking lot, and you see the corner of the building,
Mhm.
it should be right in that little general area. And this lease agreement has been reviewed by our attorneys.
And I understand this is a cash point,
Yes.
but I got a question about that. I know that it's in the plans for state government and local government to separate and to be two separate entities.
Yeah.
Will cash point still cover both of those?
So I was actually at a meeting, last Friday, and they so it gets really convoluted really quick. You got state employees credit union, you got local government, federal credit union, you also got one called civics, which is a subset of the local government, federal credit union. And if anybody's watching or anybody out there and I get this wrong, I'm not an expert on this, okay? As it was told to me, even after the split, you will still be able to go into a state employees credit union for cash transactions for a period of time. And there's no plan to change the makeup for the ATM. So, at some point maybe, but not in the near future.
Okay.
And the reason they're saying they're doing this is it's gonna save local government federal credit union members and civic federal members around $300 million, so.
Will we have any prep work to do for the setting of that ATM?
As far as I understand, it's 100% done by the contractor.
The contractor's going to be doing all the work, there'll be a curb cut out there, and the pads that'll be it.
Bushes,
That's
or
all done by the contractor.
any bushes that's gonna be a potential threat?
I think you said in the last meeting, we would just have to run the power.
Well, just like any other.
Right,
yeah,
that's it though, right?
So. And it's going right at the power pole, so,
You know, Parafol's got a lot in it.
yeah.
Okay, so we need to make a motion for this to accept it?
To accept the lease agreement.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the ATM lease agreement.
Have a
Second.
motion and a
Second.
second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous. AMI vendor selection.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. If you recall, several months ago, we sent out a RFP, request for proposal, for our AMI project. Our current metering system is about 15 years old, kind of ending its life cycle, if you want to put it that way. So we have embarked on this AMI project, which is part of our 10-year capital outlay plan. RFPs came back. We reviewed 4 proposals. The RFP bullet points were we wanted to select one vendor for both utilities, for both water and electric. We wanted both utilities to have auto shut off, auto disconnect, if you want to put it that way. We wanted minimal network, which we wanted direct communication from the meter to the collector to our billing system at Town Hall. We also wanted electronic integration as part of the installation with our billing software, which meant no customer service folks would be in there keying out 2,200 meter changeouts. So once staff got together and reviewed the proposals, we would like to move forward with negotiations with Census Metering for our AMI project. What we would ask for tonight is council approval to enter into final negotiations with a contract with Census Metering to move forward with our AMI project. I'll entertain any questions.
This will also be a budget project ordinance, and it would be separate from the operating budget, so it can span over a fiscal year, which we hope it won't, but just in case it does.
So I know when we were talking through some of these different proposals, you know, the importance was that the same provider housed everything. There was no third-party sourcing. And then we talked about the APIs if they owned those or they used the aggregator. Did we find out if that's a third party or if they own their APIs?
They do.
Okay, so it is 100% under one roof.
Census on.
I mean, there is third party that were involved in setting up all the stuff, but they own the product.
So my point is, if the API goes down, it's on them to stand it up. We're not waiting on a third-party aggregator to fix the API connection to get us back up and running. Okay.
And Brian, this provider that you're recommending, was responsive to the RFP?
Responsive to the RFP and met the requirements of the RFP.
Okay, and so it was responsive and responsible.
Correct.
Of the, vendors that made a response, it was responsive and responsible, was it the lowest responsible vendor?
Correct.
Okay.
If we go into a new billing system in 5-10 years, will they be able to switch over to a new billing system?
So can I-
Hopefully we
Can I
won't.
jump in right there?
Yeah.
The only way I think we go into a new billing system is if the one we have now goes bankrupt and goes away for good, because if not, those ladies in the back and that lady at the computer's gonna shoot all of us.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, didn't the previous council approve to put the system you're using in now?
Yeah, it's just-
relatively new, right?
Yeah, it's just the part of
Okay.
a changeover is such a massive move. But I will say that from what I understand, this company can integrate with most, if not
Well,
all, local
I'm
governments.
just letting it out there. I know
Yeah.
technology is something that changes yearly, daily.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they come out with a lickety-split billing system, will we be able to adapt over?
And Todd brought up a good point. That's what's kind of delayed this project a couple of years, was where our focus was to get our billing system, our new billing system up and running before we threw a meter change out project.
And Tammy can correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of the point of APIs now, is it's easier integration, it's more broadly accepted by more software now, correct? It replaces the old EDI, the old batch and push,
Yeah.
because it's live and it's real time. And I don't know how, I say this, I know technology will evolve and we'll get faster than API, but right now I just don't know how, since it's real time.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Ronnie, I know what you was trying to get at. You want a company that's flexible, that can change with the times, and this is one of the ones that, there's probably 2 or 3 out there can do that, and this is one of them that we have been informed by other customers are able to meet those needs.
Yeah, I spoke with them at the Electric Cities thing, and they were very impressive in having local support.
Correct.
And they could be here almost on a moment's notice, which was very impressive.
Can I ask a question? I'm Randy Austin of Vision Metering, down in York, South Carolina, and I'd just like to find out how we fared in all this, because we met all the criteria, and I'm sure we were the lowest vendor. I'm curious as to why we weren't considered.
I can address that. If I recall, auto shut off on the water and the sewer. That was one of the requirements, and also, Vision did not submit a turnkey installation price at the time of bid deadline.
And any other questions, let's handle it after the meeting, if you would like.
So you just need a motion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll move that we approve the AMI vendor selections census as recommended by Mr. Duckworth.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion is carried unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Just stay where you at, bud.
Agreement with Catawba County for funding Buffalo Shoals water line extension.
Mayor, Council, this item is a contract between Catawba County and the town of Maiden to complete our water line loop on Buffalo Shoals Road. The extension will go from East Cliff subdivision to Beal Road. Once that loop is completed, we will be able to decommission the water tank on East Maiden Road. Currently, there are some water pressure issues in that area with some customers due to low water pressure. This loop will allow us to not only decommission that tank, but improve water pressure in those areas. Funding for this project will come from the American Rescue Plan Act, which is known as ARPA. The county already has these funds in hand, and they will be redistributed to the town of Maiden for this water line project. So Wesley has reviewed the contract with Catawba County. Catawba County has already signed off on it, and we're needing our council to do the same so we can get the project in motion.
It's also important, once we have this loop, we have a backup for the east side of town. Right now, we only have water going one way on Water Plant Road and East Maiden Road. With this, it will loop it, so if we have a major incident, we can switch some valves. The water won't look the best, but we will be able to provide water for a little while, because whenever water flows one way and we get it going back the other way, it does get dingy looking, but it's better not having water at all. So it will be a health safety issue as well.
We used to have issues whenever the total school would close for the summer.
Yes.
And then when we'd start back up, that's where we'd have the problem. So you won't have to go out there and flush the fire hydrant more, will you?
Yeah, right now, I don't know if council's aware, but we're flushing that hydrant pretty regular, especially in the summertime when Total's not in school, because the water just stands in the pipe.
No special process as far as changing over meters to the new pipeline, it's just a matter of hooking up from the old tower to
Right.
the new line.
Any new customers that hook on as a part of this new water line project, including East Cliff subdivision, will have the new meter installed.
And this is 100% free money for us. It's coming from the county, from the federal government, and it's about, what, 1.5 million?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we move into agreement with Catawba County for funding the Buffalo Shoals water line extension.
Have a motion?
Second.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion is carried unanimous. Approval of engineering contract Buffalo Shoals Water Line Project.
So once we have their project or contract approval for Catawba County, the next step is to approve an engineer for the project. We would like a motion to enter into an agreement with KCI Engineering of North Carolina for the services for installation of the water line project on Buffalo Shoals Road. And this is a requirement due to ARPA funds.
I make a motion, we approve KCI as the engineering company for the water extension.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous. LGC final approval of funding.
Good evening. I just wanted to come up here and address the council about this particular agenda item. This was put on the agenda as a placeholder because of the timing of the LGC's meeting today at 1:30. We were not sure if we were gonna need further approval from council after we had LGC's approval. We do not need any more approval from the council. We do have our LGC approval. We'll get written consent from them in a few days. And then at next month's council meeting, there will be a project budget amendment to amend the ordinance, the project ordinance for this project, to carry on multiple years.
So we got the money, we're good. That's the bottom line, right?
We are set to close with Truist, I believe, September 26th. So the LGC has given us the approval to enter into an installment financing contract with financial.
It's been a long 2 years.
Yes,
Amen.
it is. Council, please note, remember when you approved this at last meeting, you said not to exceed, so, the final numbers will be presented in October. I think we have some opportunities that's gonna lower our costs, which we can speak to more probably next week or the week after.
Thank you for all your work on that.
Do I have a motion on that?
Need a motion?
A motion?
No motion
No
needed.
motion.
No motion
No.
needed on that.
Okay. Ordinances and resolution. Have before you ordinance 4-2024, ordinance supporting special events in the town of Maiden.
So, every year we do this in September, we list, four or five events? I think it's 4 events that we do that, we need to close down Main Street, and we send it, to the North Carolina DOT. And this is the 4 events that we have listed. I wanna say, the first one is Maiden High School, homecoming parade. The second one is Halloween. The third one is the Christmas parade, and the fourth one is the 4th of July parade.
So I'll move that we approve ordinance 04-2024, an ordinance supporting special events in the town of Maiden.
Have a motion
A second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous.
If there's nothing else, I move we adjourn.
Have a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We are now adjourned.